Hey guys, Qbikmusik here, doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be giving my opinion and just a quick review on the brand new Yookie EP called Fission, because I've seen a lot of controversy and backlash about it on Twitter. Seems like a pretty topical topic right now, and I thought since I do reviews and stuff, maybe I could give my input and opinion on the whole matter. So I'm going to play the intro, then we'll get into it.
Hello. Please excuse me.
All right, so I'm just going to get started with going through the individual tunes and then giving my opinion on each, and then just wrap it up with just my whole opinion on the entire situation going on with their new EP and the whole Subsidia stuff and just all the backlash I've been seeing on Twitter and Reddit and all the different social media sites and everything. So get started with the first tune on the EP called Nuclear. We all heard that in the Subsidia compilation. I loved that song. It was like one of my favorite Yookie tunes that's come out in a while, and I loved the vocals that they did on it. I thought it was really cool to hear that they started doing vocals, and it was just a really fun flow. It was kind of something new from Yookie, definitely something that would hit super heavy live, create lots of mosh pits and great memories. So yeah, I love Nuclear, and it was cool that it was the title track and that it really set off the EP. But as I'll get into it later, I do think that's part of what has caused so much backlash. Moving on is it's called NFS, which I don't know what that stands for. But it's called NFS. So basically, loved the rap part. It gave me some kind of Scarlord vibes. If you listen to Scarlord or know who that is, I enjoy that type of rap. So I thought it was cool. And again, I think it's really cool that they've started doing vocals on their music. It's something that I think needs to happen more. Dubstep and just heavy music in general. It gives songs more substance, and it's fun to just see them experimenting and pushing their music forward in a new way. But I will say, though I enjoyed the rap part in the intro, the drop was pretty basic. It felt like 2016 hybrid trap vibes. Like, they usually push the envelope a lot with their music and push things forward in trap and heavy bass music and stuff like that. But I really thought they kind of went backwards with the drop in this song. It's not really something I would play and that I really would ever listen to again. But I mean, it's also music subjective, and that's what they were feeling and the vibe they went with, and I didn't really fuck with it because I'm just not into that style anymore. But like I said, rap part was really dope. In between the drops was great. Moving on to voices, I thought again more Scarlord vibes. I don't know what that type of rap is called, because Scarlord's like one of the only artists I've found that does that style, but I love whatever style that is. I love the vocals in that style of rap, and so I love that they've been continuing on with that, and it wasn't just like a singular thing for Nuclear. So that's cool. I liked the atmosphere and the samples they used in the beginning, the tone they set. The build-up was sick, but then we get to the drop again, and it just felt it's like a really basic formula that like bump up, like the Babatunde like sustain note thing. Like, they've done it a lot, and they really came up on that sound. But to hear them doing it again in 2020, like, you know, we've all been in quarantine and had so much time to really push our music forward as artists. So it was just a little bit of a letdown to hear them just kind of doing that same played out formula. But I will say the bass that they used was really sick. And even though it is a played out formula, it does work live. Like, it does work. Like, it is lit. It was just kind of like, I don't know, like they've set higher expectations in the past, and it's just kind of been, like I said, really played out formula. Second drop though, it did have a switch up for a second, but they didn't really take it further than that, unfortunately, and I would have liked to see that. But it feels like it was definitely made to be a festival banger. and it does that job well. Like if they played that live, I mean, I'd definitely be going off to it. So I think part of when considering your criticisms and your critiques of music is to really consider the context and intention that was put into the song. Like it definitely feels like it's just meant to be a festival banger. Moving on to Sick, I could really see this song being like a very love-hate, like either you love the song or you hate the song, because the sound design was a bit dated, just very like kind of like 2015 bro step sound design, and then the drop felt kind of empty compared to, I mean, it is Yookie and they do a lot of experimentation with like keeping things empty and taking away certain elements that aren't normally used in like all that other type of music. So I don't know, it feels like either you're gonna love the song or you're gonna hate the song. I wasn't super into it. It sounded like they're going for more of like a moody good type of flow or something in the first drop, but it just came off a bit weird to me personally. The second drop was a welcome switch up from the first drop. I definitely enjoyed it better, but going back to what I said about voices, the song felt very much geared towards a live show and live audience. And so I personally didn't really enjoy the song, but I'm sure it would go off live. And you know, if I heard it live, I might not have had the same opinion that I did. Moving on to Sheep, I love me some Qoiet, and I was excited to see a collab, and I honestly loved everything leading up to the drop. It was fun, classic Qoiet shit. I thought the new style of the Yookie vocals and stuff really fit the aesthetic of Qoiet, and so I was excited to see what they would do. But then you get to the drop, and the drop lead was kind of a weird timbre. Like I could see why people might not have fucked with this song. I thought it was fun, especially the first drop, but in terms of replayability, I don't think it's something I'd find myself just listening to casually or replaying for friends and stuff like that. It was just a bit riding the edge of like what's enjoyable to listen to in terms of like the leads for the drop. So I was just kind of like, I didn't really know how I felt about that song, honestly. And so moving on to the final song called Not Another Moshpit Song. So first off, I loved the addition of the vocals to all these songs. Like you keep saying, like I really think it's a dope direction they're going with their music. And I love Code Pandorum, and seeing that they collabed, I was really excited. But getting to the drop, I was a bit confused because I enjoyed the initial hit, and I even appreciated the kind of offbeat groove of the lead hits, but the sustain bass, it felt like way too forward in the mix, and it kind of took the focus away from those like off-grid and I think at some points triplet hits that like I hope you guys know what I'm talking about with like the lead hits and stuff. It was just those like metallic, like whoop, 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 whoop. Like it sounded like probably Code Pandorum's part of the drop. Yeah, it just felt like the sustain note took the forefront of the mix and the focus away from those, and it felt like it should have been the other way around. Like sustain note drops have been a bit played out, especially after the new Subsidia compilation, and so I felt like the sustain bass should have been more of a background element in the drop. And so overall, it didn't really give me as much of an urge to like mosh pit as the title and the theme of the song implied it would. So it was kind of a letdown because, I mean, it was called Not Another Mosh Pit Song, and they're talking about moshing the whole song, but I really didn't get the vibe of like, oh, I want to fucking jump out my chair and start mosh pitting. So those are my individual reviews of all of the songs on the EP, and now I'm just gonna get into my final thoughts and like what I think about this whole situation. So first off, I do want to say I don't agree with trashing on artists because you don't personally enjoy their music or think they've made better music in the past. I mean, they're human. They're just expressing themselves and making what makes them happy. And as an artist, I understand like how much work goes into making music, accepting your own music, putting out your music, and it definitely hurts to hear criticism and people attacking your music in like an objective way when it's just like I don't know. I just like I really disagree with just shitting on an artist because you didn't like their music. And hopefully it doesn't feel like that in this review. It's completely just constructive and subjective criticism. I'm just one fucking dude. I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time. So hopefully this isn't adding to that at all. I just wanted to give my opinion. But anyways, so yeah, moving forward with my final thoughts, and again, my personal subjective opinion, I think the EP was pretty mediocre, especially for them, just because Yookie generally pushes boundaries with their music and introduces interesting new sounds and flows and concepts to trap and heavy bass music. On top of that, I think that their previous release and also the title track of this EP, Nuclear, like I was saying before, it really set some high expectations for the rest of the tracks. And just like, I mean, unless I haven't been following Yookie as closely as I thought I was, like I hadn't heard much from them in a while until they dropped Nuclear. And so I heard Nuclear and I was like, oh, this is a sick new direction they're going with their music. It feels like they've evolved. I was really excited to hear what else they had coming out and where else they were going to push that direction forward. And they definitely did that with the vocals in their songs. But in terms of the drops of all these tracks, it felt like they kind of went backwards to their old sound in like 2015, 2016, which might be a throwback for a lot of people, and the people who first fell in love with them, they may have really enjoyed that. Just personally, especially as an artist and just being really forward thinking and excited for the future, I felt like kind of let down, and I feel like that's probably what a lot of people felt. And so I don't think it's like horrible music or anything. I just think it's like set some really high expectations, which is a good thing in the end. It means like they are respected producers and they really have pushed boundaries and introduced new vibes to EDM, and so that part's really cool. And so people, I think, were just really excited and they got really let down. And so yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad for them, because that's just what inevitably happens to a lot of artists. Sometimes you, like, whether you've kind of lost your flow or whatever, or maybe you've just decided to go a different direction with your music, you set expectations for people. And so that's why you see stuff that like happens, for instance, with Getter, where he sets all these expectations of like, oh, he's the bro step guy or whatever, and then he flips to making Visceral, which I think is equally as dope music. But a lot of people obviously were really upset and they were pissed off that he wasn't doing more bro step. And it's not really his fault, but it also is. But like, it's this weird gray area of just artistry, and unfortunately people aren't considerate enough, I guess, to really realize that, or realize that like they don't completely need to just like publicly shit on them. Like, you can just keep your opinion to yourself, or at least if you have an opinion, try to voice it in a more constructive, considerate way. And I'm not trying to take shots at anyone or whatever. I do think that's something that if you're one of those people who was like tweeting at them and just trashing them for making shit music or whatever, like I do think it's important to just kind of rethink about how you are approaching artists and reacting to your personal opinions. And so yeah, I do think that the EP was kind of a letdown for a lot of people. And though I'm not down with the reaction and the backlash, I do understand the reaction and the opinions of a lot of this backlash. And so all in all, my heart goes out to the Yookie boys, because I'm sure it hurts to have your hard work and expression so widely criticized. And regardless of how I feel or any of you guys feel about the EP, it's still something they poured their heart, soul, and lots of work into. And so yeah, definitely, I don't know, I kind of feel bad because it's been a bit of a rocky start for Subsidia Records, I'd say, especially adding this EP to the backlash that the record label's gotten so far. I guess just let me know in the comments what you thought of the EP, preferably in a more constructive way rather than just completely shitting on the artist. Yeah, I don't know. I hope this video was warranted and not adding or contributing to more hate. But yeah, so yeah, my name's Qbik. Not as lively and upbeat of a review as normal. I hope you still enjoyed it or got something out of this. And yeah, go listen to the EP if you haven't already. Give me your opinions because I want to know what you guys think too. And yeah, thanks everybody who keeps supporting me on all these videos and my music. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun doing reviews. I fucking love music if you couldn't tell. And so yeah, it's great that I'm like slowly having a platform where I can just like share my opinions and enjoy music together with you guys. So yeah, that being said, here's the outro and my favorite song on the EP.